Hello there and welcome again to another Change4Life Sunderland healthy lifestyle session. This is our sixth and final session for the time being. This week we're going to be looking at food labelling. So a few little things to go through, and then we're also going to finish off with a little recap of the 6 sessions that we've done recently, and a little bit of a quiz that you might find to test yourselves with a little bit, and we'll let you know about things that we're going to be doing in the future as well. Okay, so this session is all about food labels, and again, the first slide we show here is the Eat Well guide, and if you do look at the top left hand corner of the Eat Well guide on this screen here, or if you can download it on your computer at home, you can see that there's what we call like a food label there. An example of what you might say on a food label, and this could be in the form of a traffic light system. So that's what we're going to have a little look at first of all. So why do food labels matter? Well, food labels can use red, amber and green colour coding to help us understand what's inside our food so we can make healthier choices when shopping. Food labels can also be called nutrition labels. They show how much sugar, salt and saturated fat is in a certain product, so we know what we're buying. When it comes to reading food labels, a good rule of thumb is to go for more greens, less reds and ambers just some of the time. Now, not all packaged food has traffic light systems on it. Some can be plain and still a little bit confusing. Yeah. So if we do see these labels like this, so they don't have the traffic lights, if they don't have red, which kind of can also mean stop and have a little think, should we be buying a food that's got lots of reds on? If it's got ambers on, we kind of would think that's okay most of the time. If it's got green, you can think green for go, that's excellent, we'll have plenty of those, yeah. If it doesn't have that, and you still want to find out a little tip of maybe what we can do to make sure something isn't healthy for us, Ant has got a great one for us there on this.
Yeah, thanks Brian. So when you're looking at any kind of foods, guys, yeah, if the label isn't there, you can always turn the food or the drink round, have a look on the back, but always look at per 100 grams, okay? So if we're looking at sugars, if you're wondering, is it high, is it medium, or is it low, the best way to remember is how many letters has the word sugar got in it? Okay, how many letters? Yeah, so that's 5 letters. So if it's 5 grams or less, you know that that's going to be fairly good or really good. That's going to be the green, okay? So for sugars, 5 or less is what we're looking for. For fat, again, the same thing. How many letters has fat got in it? 3. So when we're looking to see if something's got a lot of fat in or a little bit less fat in, if it's got 3 or less, you know that it's going to be green, it's going to be low. Okay?
Okay, excellent. Okay. And you also might see on a package, as well as the sugar, as well as the salt, as well as the fat, yeah, you might also be looking at how many calories is in food as well.
Yeah.
So we've got a little bit of information on calories here as well, yeah.
Yeah, so calories, guys, are basically a measure of the amount of energy in food or drink, okay? So children should get most of their calories from their breakfast, lunch and evening meals. Yeah, you might even get it from snacking, okay? So if children are getting hungry throughout the day, you should be very aware of how many calories are going in those snacks. And we're going to be very mindful that we're going to stick to maybe the 100 calories snacks, okay? Now Change4Life do great examples of 100 calorie snack examples. So again, have a look at their website, Change4Life Recipe Ideas, and there's a little section on snacking when they give some fantastic ideas about what snacks you could use throughout the day when it's not breakfast, lunch or dinner. In and around that, there'll be some good recipes. 100
calorie snacks, two a day max. That's the the motto there. Yeah,
absolutely.
Brilliant. So just to summarise that there, okay, there's lots of food we buy that can look healthy at first, but if you take a closer look, you can actually find out what's really going on inside the food. So often, especially with packaged foods, we can see a picture of a food that could be, you know, that could look healthy, it could look tasty, it could look sort of, you know, homely, like home cooked, but if we turn it around or if we look at those traffic lights, we can actually find out a lot more information about what's going on inside, and so that information can inform us on the choices that we make when we buy food. Now you can download a really useful app from Change4Life called the Change4Life Food Scanner app. It's been downloaded to Apple and Android phones, and it's really useful for when you're out shopping. You hold your kind of camera over the barcode of a food product, and it'll flash up whether it's high, a medium, or low in an ingredient. Yeah. Again, it can be used at home. Quite good for like a little snack challenge around the house. If you've got children who are kind of getting hungry and they're wanting snacks, you can turn on the app and say, right, okay, you can have a snack if you can find something that's got plenty of greens on there. Yeah. Okay, and that could be a good little activity to try at home as well. Yeah. So if you can, do try and download that Change4Life Food Scanner app. It is really, really useful. And the link there is there for Change4Life and for their food labeling section on their website as well. Okay, so yeah, just to summarise, traffic light systems are great. Try and go for more greens where possible. Okay. So that brings us to the end of our food labeling session and the end of our initial 6 online healthy lifestyle sessions that we've been putting out. What we'd like to do just before we finish up is just a quick little recap on those sessions. Okay, so week 1, session 1, we looked at the Eat Well Guide, which is the government's kind of sort of healthy eating model. Gives us loads of information about all the foods and drinks that we have, about all of our food groups. Session 2 was about fats, sugars and snacks. So foods that we should have less often and in smaller amounts. Foods that might taste nice but can be quite unhealthy for our bodies if we have them too often. Session 3 was all about breakfasts. So we'll find out sort of, why breakfast is important and what we could have as ideas for breakfasts. Session 4 is physical activity, how much we should be doing, how often we should be doing it. Session 5, packed lunches, when might we have them, what would be good to go in a packed lunch. And session 6 is what we've just looked at there, food labelling. Okay, so we do have a quick little recap quiz as well if you'd like to challenge yourselves to it. Think we should have a little go at that?
I think so, yeah. So grab yourself a pen and a piece of paper. What we're going to do is read out the questions, just really briefly, from each section, okay? And you can test yourself, see how much you have learned over the last 6 topics, okay? So I'll kick things off. So if we're going to look at the Eat Well Guide, yeah? So what Bryce just mentioned there, the first topic, week 1, yeah? So the Eat Well Guide. Can you tell me how many sections were in the Eat Well Guide? And the second part of that is, what are these sections called? So how many sections and what was each of the coloured sections called? Okay, so you can jot the answers down there and we'll move on to the next.
Okay, yeah.
Section.
So question 2 is about fats and sugars. Okay, so can you list 2 reasons of why foods that might be high in fats, high in sugars, high in salts might lead to health problems in the future? So 2 reasons that could come from eating those foods in the future. Okay, and for the second part of that, can you remember how many spoonfuls of sugar would go into 1 can of fizzy pop and 1 chocolate bar?
Okay. The next section, guys, is breakfast. Okay, so the question under the breakfast topic, name 2 reasons why breakfast is known as the most important meal of the day. So 2 reasons why we call it the most important meal of the day. Okay, and the second part of this topic, give an example of what you could swap on top of your cereal. So if it was a sugar swap, if you were putting sugar already on top of the cereal, what could you swap that sugar for that might count as one of your 5 a day? Okay, so we're going to take the sugar off, but what could you put on that would count as one of your 5 a day?
Okay, and question 4 on physical activity. First question is, how many minutes per day should children be doing physical activity? Okay, and question 2 on physical activity is, how many days per week should children be doing some kind of physical activity? Okay, so how many minutes and how many days per week? Okay.
Okay. If you remember week 5, we looked at packed lunches. Okay, so the packed lunch question, 2 reasons why or where you might have a packed lunch. Okay, so where might you go for a packed lunch, or why might you have a packed lunch? So give me 2 examples. Okay, and would like you to describe, you might describe it to someone who's doing this quiz alongside you, what an example of an unhealthy packed lunch looks like, and describe what a healthy packed lunch looks like. Okay?
And lastly, on food labelling, which we've just been talking about, so it should be still very fresh in the mind. If you saw a traffic light label on a food package, what would red stand for, what would amber stand for, and what would green stand for? And that's all of our recap quiz questions. Okay, so hopefully you've had a little bit of time just to jot some answers down there, and we're now going to go through the answers to see what we've got and see if they match the ones that you came up with as well. Okay.
So guys, if you need to pause this video just to kind of put some more answers down, that's absolutely fine. If you're ready for the answers, we're going to go through those. Or if you want to recap yourself, you can always go through each topic each week again by finding us on the stream and the YouTube videos, okay? So, the first question was the Eat Well Guide. How many sections in the Eat Well Guide? Did you get that right? That's 5 sections. And what are those different colour sections called? So we've got the big green section, which is fruit and veg, the big yellow section, which is carbohydrates, the pink section, which is protein, the blue section, which is dairy, and the little purple section, which is oils and spreads. Okay, so did you get those? Those are your 5 sections.
So, and for question 2, for fats and sugars, we asked what 2 consequences of having too much fat and sugar and salt in our daily diet could be. And you could have had an array of answers there, 2 of which too much sugar could lead to early tooth decay, having fillings and teeth taken out early. Too much fat and too much sugar could, in the future, lead to serious conditions such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and certain types of cancer as well. So if you had any of those in there, then they would class as your right answers there. Did you remember how many spoonfuls of sugar goes into a can of pop? We're looking at around about 10 teaspoons of sugar in a can of pop here. Okay, so 1 small can of pop, 10 teaspoons of sugar. If you think about a chocolate bar, how many spoonfuls of sugar would go into a chocolate bar? In a small one, standard size chocolate bar, we're looking around about 8. So 18 spoonfuls of sugar altogether. So if you had those answers down there, you got those spot on, right? Well done.
Yeah. Breakfasts, okay, remember the topic of breakfast. Name 2 reasons why breakfast is known as the most important meal of the day. So again, a few different answers you might have for this one. You've got things like, it sets you up for the day, okay? It provides you with lots of energy, okay? Kind of wakens up the body system so you can actually concentrate, you can perform well at school, do well in your activities. Yeah, so lots of different answers there why breakfast is important, okay? Okay. Next part of that, give an example of what you could swap sugar for on top of your cereal and replace with that might count towards the 105 a day. Hopefully you got this one right and you've got a few examples. It could be fruit such as berries, blueberries, strawberries, raspberries, blackberries, banana, apple. There's lots of different answers to this one. You can just pick your favourite fruit, which is a great one to pop on top of your cereal instead of that sugar.
Absolutely, yeah. And question 5 is about packed lunches. So 2 reasons why you might take a packed lunch. For why might you have a packed lunch? Well, you could have had any of these answers. It could have been on a school trip, it might have been for a school lunch, it might have been for a family trip, for a day out, for a family excursion somewhere. So you could have had any of those there. And what would a healthy packed lunch look like? Okay, so an example of a healthy packed lunch would be things that include something from like most sections of the Eat Well guide. So we'll be looking for things like sort of sandwiches on wholemeal bread, yeah, some kind of fruit in there, maybe some vegetables, some veg sticks, some chocolate veg sticks. We'll be looking for nice lean types of protein, so if you like things like tuna, that would be great, you can have that in there. Hard-boiled eggs, that's a great sandwich to have on a packed lunch as well. If you were having some dairy in there, we'll be looking for sort of low sugar yogurt, so like a natural yogurt, a Greek style yogurt, yeah. If you're having some cheese in there, maybe try and look for like a low fat version of some cheese, okay. These are all things that could go into a nice healthy packed lunch. If you're choosing a drink there, you're also looking at things like healthy drinks like water, and maybe there's no added sugar juice as well, okay. So that would be an example of a healthy packed lunch. An unhealthy packed lunch was the next part of the question. So what did you come up with for an unhealthy packed lunch? Well, if you had any of these foods in here, so pastries, yeah, sugary drinks, yeah, sugary snacks, chocolate biscuits, things like that, yeah. Any foods that you can think of that would be high in sugar, sweets for example. Any foods that you can think of that would be high in fats, okay, so like kind of too many creamy foods, too many pastry foods, yeah, sausage rolls, things like that. That would be an example of something we wouldn't want too much of. If you think about drinks, we wouldn't really want to be having fizzy drinks, high sugar drinks, exactly. Okay, so these are the things that we're looking for not to have too much of in our packed lunches. So if you had any of those answers there, you got that one absolutely spot on, well done.
Okay, you might be wondering why we've jumped to packed lunches, because Brian jumped past physical activity, which we'll just do quickly now. So physical activity, how many minutes of physical activity per day should you guys be doing? What did you get for that? 60 minutes a day, hopefully, yep. So that's the answer to the first part. The second part was how many days per week should you be doing this? And that's every day. So 7 days a week, 60 minutes a day, okay? Now remember, with the physical activity section, if you remember, you can break that 1 hour or that 60 minutes down into 10-minute blocks here, 10-minute blocks there. You can just mix and match it however you want, but the key thing is that you're nice and active, you do a nice variety of exercises, so try different hobbies, activities, sports, yep. But the most important thing that we said, remember, was to have fun, enjoy it. Because the more fun you have, the more you enjoy it, the longer you'll do it for. Okay.
Excellent. And the sixth and final question was about food labelling. So the question here was, if you looked at a food label and it had a traffic light system on, what would the red stand for, what would the amber stand for, what would the green stand for? So if you see a food with lots of reds, that means it's going to be high in a certain ingredient that might not be very good for us. So it could be high in salt, it could be high in sugar, it could be high in saturated fat, yeah. If you see it amber, it's got a medium amount of that in. So a medium amount of sugar, fat, salt. If it's amber, you could have that most of the time, that's okay. If it's green, it's got a low amount of those ingredients in. So a low amount of fat, a low amount of salt, a low amount of sugar. And those are if the more greens on the food package, then the healthier we're expecting that food to be for us. So go for more greens. Okay. So if you got those answers right, well done again, excellent. Okay. So that's the end of our little recap quiz. Hopefully you did get quite a few of those right if you've been watching the sessions. Hopefully you have enjoyed the sessions as well. We'd just like to say, you know, congratulations to everyone who has taken part and followed these sessions along. Well done. Keep up the good work. We do have links to our Facebook page. If you're not already familiar with that, you can have a little look at that. Keep updated with all the information that we put out there and other activities that are going on around Sunderland. Also, there's a link there to the main Change4Life page, which we've talked about quite a bit, which really does have a really great amount of resources on there from everything from sort of, you know, from all of the topics that we've been looking at. So have a look at that if you are looking at making some changes, you know, leading a healthy lifestyle. Great sort of information on there as well. And hopefully we'll be putting out more videos with different topics as we go forward. Yeah. So keep a little lookout for those if you enjoy them.
Absolutely, yeah. Just say from us, bye and well done. Excellent. Take care.
Yeah. Okay.